Jim Forrest with you on the Breakfast Club, and we're pleased to have with us on this Wednesday morning the mayor of Ashland, Steve Gilmore. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Jim.
How are you?
I'm good.
What's happening in this
Great weather.
city
Great
of
weather
Ashland? Oh,
today.
what a winter we've had, huh?
Yeah,
I love it.
absolutely. Well, really all kinds of things, besides, the constant work on 16th Street Plaza.
Which, by the way, amazes me that no matter if it's raining or whatever, they're down there working.
Well, again, it's a local contractor, DebCon. They're big time. They've been
Yeah.
all over the country here the last several years. They used to do a lot of work downtown for the city, but they picked this job up. We got a very good bid from them from doing it last year, bidding, and it was just out of reach for us. So, and then we get a local, working local people. They're on it. This is their city too, so they got a little more in the game, to make it beautiful. Our Destination Ashland committee has been working quite fervently over the last several weeks since Mr. Brooks was in town about what we need to do downtown. In fact, the 24th, we've moved our commission meeting from the 26th of March to the 24th, a Tuesday evening, to accommodate several schedules, including mine, but in order to have them come and present to the city commission that evening. So I think it's going to be really interesting. A lot of it I'm not aware of yet. A little bit I get reports from the city manager as time goes by, but there's a real cross-section of our community on that committee. People submitted, names. Some people submitted their own names, saying, I'd like to serve. And you had a long list. And I only played a very, very minor role in looking at some of those. But I think we got some great progressive people on there with good creative ideas. So they're going to make their first presentation to us that evening. And, obviously you can watch it on My Town TV that night if you don't make the meeting. I think it'll be an exciting report to see. And, economic development is going on every day for us. We have a very vital office with Chris Pullum in charge and Catherine Unsinger, they're just working their heads off. This group, they've been meeting for several months, but also we've got some subgroups looking at this target area, five block area of the middle of downtown to change the whole face of it, and hopefully for the good. We are awaiting some kind of final approval from the Department of Highways on going to 2 lanes on Winchester with angle parking, which is the kind of thing that we want to see what happens. We want to make downtown a pedestrian-friendly, citizen-friendly place to come, more parking for them, slow traffic down. If you want to get to the bridge, you want to get to Greenup County, you want to get to Huntington, go up Greenup Avenue and the bypass. And you're trying to get downtown somewhere else down around the lower end, the mall, go Carter Avenue too, But we're going to try to make it where people can walk across the street without feeling like they're going to get mowed over, and we're going to have a lot of activities on that 16th Street. LGC will be a part of a lot of that. I can assure you. You're going to do some things too, but
yeah,
we're going to have a lot of activities that you guys want to be involved in. I know it sounds optimistic, and we'll crawl a little bit and then walk and then run, I'm sure, with it. But, Brooks, a lot of the cities that he's helped and do this thing and get an area that is made to order for activities downtown, for families, for kids, for older generation and so forth. He recommends 200 to 225 events during a 365-day year minimum. So we're going to try to set up some things, like you read about the Y schedule, the senior citizen schedule, and all these kind of things going on. And we're going to have a schedule where you'll know what's going on 16th Street Plaza, which will be to be named.
Right.
And it's just going to be an active. We're trying to get people involved downtown again.
Yeah, that sounds great. And it's going to be interesting to see the transformation take place. And then you don't know if it's going to work if you don't try it.
Right, and for downtown, it takes a little bit of paint, and we can give it a shot. Won't be out any big investment to see how it works for everyone. But we've always had this idea, including me, that you fill up these open fronts that are down here, and people will come. He says you start doing things downtown, and people will come and put places in these open buildings. And that's their philosophy. Now, he said this the opening day over there, and we opened it up to the public to come to the hotel, and he did this big show that the manager and I were fortunate to see in Covington, the League of Cities meeting. That's how we got him here. And I think the 125 people that came were really astounded by how much he showed that lent itself to what we can do in Ashland, Kentucky. And he said we're just ready made, to make great strides with, making our downtown a flourishing downtown again. And again, we say those things because the life of your community, the revenue producing area of your community is your downtown. And the more we can get new stores and more employees in our community, the less burden is going to be on our citizens out there, many of them of which you've heard me say 100 times have already paid their way.
Yeah.
We need to provide an easier tax base for them, and also provide to hang on to kids and that millennial group that is talked about so much by offering more in our downtown.
Yeah, and that thought that you had a moment ago, or what his comment was, makes a lot of sense, because sometimes we view things a certain way, and we never step back and try to review it from the reverse angle, which is what he's exactly doing. Well, if we can just get these storefronts filled, then maybe people will come. Well, maybe the way to look at that is if you get something for people to do down here, people want to be in the stores. It makes sense.
He's convincing, and I was one of those, Jim, that I thought just the opposite way. And he convinced us, and he showed us evidence of a lot of the cities he's helped do things in, that all of a sudden the downtown in the evenings. And of course, one of the things that he pushes, now we've been in his corner on this for years, and I've talked to I did back when I was mayor before. I basically had a big conference in the hotel and tried to get all the downtown merchants that could come, and we did it different times to address what we felt like would spur economic development for the downtown. You have to be open. When the times people can shop. And we're a work community with a lot of people out of work, but we're working on that too. But a lot of people after 5 o'clock is when they want to go get something. They're not able. He says you open a little later in the morning and you stay open in the evening, and a lot of merchants just don't want to do that. But it's going to be a key for them, and I think enough of them will maybe start seeing the trend for that.
Well, I think if you're having things down at the plaza here and doing things that, they'll see that that's when people are here, and if they're going to sell something, that's when they need to be open.
I just walked through the arcade to get up here. I don't know. You know why these are all blocked off?
They're doing something with the sidewalks here.
Okay.
Cleaning the sidewalks with some kind of...
We are going to pressure spray all of them. We sure are. I didn't know we were already up here. Well, anyway,
they were right in front of us a few moments ago.
So I walked through the arcade, and I know a whole lot of our people in Ashland probably haven't been in the arcade in a long, long time, and it's just amazing how many stores are in there and the articles that you won't find anywhere else. Now they have clothing and they have general stuff, and I mean just neat shops, but not just for gifts, but for things you like to have in your own home. So it's an amazing place to go through, and I would encourage anybody in the area. Shop everywhere you want, but you ought to go through our arcade and take a look at all the neat stuff these people have put their time, talent, and treasure in, putting in these stores. And we try to promote it. My wife does an excellent job of doing that, I might add. And I can't get on her about it because we're trying to help the downtown economy. But we have a lot going for us, and I envision us doing a whole lot more.
Let's talk about jobs while I've got you here, because that is a concern, with Bellefonte closing down and more of Bellefonte, Our Lady Bellefonte Hospital closing every day, it seems like. But King Stoddard's is really stepping up and doing a lot of things. And now I think trying to purchase even from what I hear, some of the buildings there, and going to keep some of them open. And so it might not be, that part might not be as bad as we originally thought it was going to be.
Big operations, big corporations make decisions for their shareholders. And I hated so bad to see that they were going to close out there, and it not only has employed a lot of people, but there are a lot of people dependent on them and that end of our region. But it happened, and it was out of anybody's hands. The flip side is it's going to be it's going to be a big plus for King's Daughters Medical Center, but in turn, it's going to be a lot of issues for them to deal with. I have met just privately with Christy, and she is so good at keeping people in leadership roles up on everything. And I think at this point, in talking to some of their administrative staff, they're close to 400, about 360 they've already hired, almost all from the Bellefonte, which was about almost half now of the people they had to let go.
Yeah.
And doctor groups have moved. Not now they're going to employ some doctors, but at least one major doctor group has already moved or in the process with a number of doctors, and they're still on their own, and that's great, and have a multitude of patients. And in talking with Christy, I don't think she'd care if I at least shared the fact that we have a lot of room space that was being utilized in other ways for testing and some lab work and all that sort of thing. But when I asked her, do we have room, and she said absolutely, and they needed a huge number of nurses anyway, so this kind of opened the door to get trained people, experienced people, live in the area. They're not going to come and hit and miss and go and all that, but they have an extensive orientation period for them, and are trying to plug them in the places where they are most suited. So, out of one unfortunate situation in Greenup County, at least a lot of those people stay home, continue to make a nice salary and raise their families and continue to do the things they want to do.
Anything on the horizon that you can speak about at this point of anything coming that you guys are working on?
Well, with the most recent comments of Cleveland Cliff saying that they were probably going to put the AK, although they're still buying AK. They'll put the Amanda Furnace situation on the back burner. And I don't know if I mentioned last time, may not have talked to this person at that point, but I talked with the VP of Labor Relations, and I want people out there listening who maybe have lost jobs or maybe retirees from Armco or AK. He said that the reputation down here is far-reaching, and they're very aware that before this thing happened. I actually talked to him before that was announced, but he said, they were excited to be able to come into an area. Number one, the importance of Amanda Furnace and the pig iron, the money could be made. I mean, he kept going on about that, but he said the fact we could come in and probably hire a large number of steel workers that already know the trade, and that's a big plus. But now it's off. But I don't know if I mentioned, but I think maybe one day in here I did mention that Chris Pullman and I'd made contact through Marty Brenneman and Amanda. She'd been on an airplane, and so got talking to a guy, a big contractor, and want to know where she's from in Cincinnati. She said, "Well, I'm actually from Ashland. Do you know the mayor? Can you see if I can call him?" That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. To see if you could call a mayor, call him. But anyway, I got in touch with him, and I met he and his brother here at the hotel one Friday morning early, and they had already been in town a couple of times. They had already purchased a couple of properties from AK. So they have a track record with AK of something closed like that. They told me about a couple of them, and then they either join in to put something in there, or they work to headhunt to get a company in to go with it. And there was very positive signs there, and so I took them up to Coke Plant property, which I think I did expose that a while back. But I've been dealing with that for 3.5 years, and the city has an option on that property. Now it changed a little bit with Cleveland Cliffs, but I still have a contract on my desk. But I could not put our citizens in liability at this point.
Sure.
We hired consultants. We have an inch-thick book on, had it tested, had hot spots tested. We can do it. Environmental in Frankfurt, EPA said, "What do you want to do, Mayor? I want to industrial park it, pave, concrete, whoever comes in, and he said, "You can do it." We would approve that in 2 weeks. So we would give it away, Jim, to the highest job count.
Yeah.
So I told these guys about that, so they immediately, wanted to go up there. So I got them up there, and they loved that property. So I'm back talking with them because they were in a bidding, putting a sealed bid in at the time with AK, and then probably this kind of got in the way with the purchase.
Sure.
But see, I'm seeing if they're spending any time with Cleveland Cliffs to see, hey, we'd like to do something down on your property, and there's 740 acres down here on the West Processing Plant, and up here at the Coke Plant's about 142. All rail and river.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're plum spots, and we're still trying to market those heavily.
All right.
They could be a major boon. I may not see it in my term, but the groundwork's here for that to happen. A lot of jobs.
All right. Anything else going on?
Well, I'll keep you abreast as things happen. But we're at budget time, obviously, and the pre-budget meetings we're having. We're pretty tight. We're very fluid. We are going to finish in the black, and we're doing a lot of things. Tony Grubb and Michelle Veach are two head finance people. They do an unbelievable job, and they're able to keep us in tow and make everything happen. But we're gonna do some things. We're probably gonna beef up our police department a little bit to ensure continued safety in our community and all the things going on you read about and you see about. But basically, we're going to continue to do things like this plaza. We're going to continue to do downtown work to enhance the look of this, to draw in everybody we can. When people come and they're thinking about putting a business in, they come to your downtown.
Sure.
Their wives want you to go to their downtown, or they want to come in and look this community over, and then they see we're in a safe area. We're close to airports. We're close to wherever you need to get. You can get there pretty easy from here, and it's a beautiful, safe place to live.
All right. Looking forward to hearing more updates on the budget and other things as we have you in a couple of weeks.
You'll get it.
All right. Thanks Mayor.
Jim.
Mayor Steve Gilmore. His appearance here on the Breakfast Club brought to you by McMeans Pharmacy.
Cool Hits 105.7.